Welcome to the first episode of me totally on my own, not working for anybody else. I'm very excited to be here. And man, I've been dreaming about this for 6 years. My name is Steve Larsen, and you're listening to Sales Funnel Radio.
Welcome to Sales Funnel Radio, where you'll learn marketing strategies to grow your online business using today's best internet sales funnels. And now, here's your host, Steve Larsen.
What's up, everyone? Holy crap, I woke up this morning and I thought to myself, holy smokes, you really did this. Oh my gosh. And then I got up and I lifted and got ready for the day, and I'm here. I'm ready to rock. This is it's going to be fun stuff. What do you do when you have that clean of a slate? And it's been a lot of fun though already. I'm excited for this though. I've been dreaming about being on my own as owning my own business, having being my own entrepreneur. I've been dreaming about this for probably 6 years, and really though it's been since like the middle of high school. So I don't know, like 15, 20 years, something like that. So I'm excited for what this means. I'm excited for what it's going to require me to do and grow as an individual. And I understand that. I know that there's things I just don't know. And there's stuff that I don't even know that I don't know. And I'm excited to go find those things out. And I know it'll cause some bruises and cuts and tears every once in a while. I'll get a bloody eye. Like you know what I mean? Like, it's not... I know that. And I understand that. And it's so funny how many people have reached out and been like, "You're an idiot, oh my gosh," and there's tons of people who are like, "You can do it, oh my gosh," and it's fun to have, like, it's been cool to have both sides of it, because to me it means that I'm doing the right thing. So when there's that much polarity with it, it's kind of like, if you've offended nobody by noon, you're not marketing hard enough. I feel like it's the same thing for you as an individual. If nobody's naysaying what you're doing, you're probably not pushing yourself hard enough. You know what I mean? Anyway, so I'm excited. I've got my first product launch. Well, it's not my first one. I've done a lot of them, but it's my first one solo on Thursday, and excited for it. And I've been planning this product for a long time, and I've tested it, and it's been working like crazy. And I've got, honestly, really 2 beta groups that I've been doing it with for the last while, and it's been killing it. And so I'm finally ready to go public with it, which I'm very excited about. And a lot of people have asked, how do you feel like you're ready? How do you feel like you're set to do this? How do you feel, And I know there's a lot of people, you guys are listening, and you might either be hoping to one day get out there and do something on your own. You're dreaming about it, and there's something keeping you back, or you feel like you're not ready, or whatever it is. And then the other side is, I know a lot of you guys who listen are actually by yourself, and you actually have been by yourself for a while, and that's awesome. I'm pleased to have you as well as a listener. So I understand we got both sides of the coin here, and both sides of the coin as far as how people feel. It's funny that people like reach out and tell you your opinion about what you're about to do with your own life. You know what I mean? And I just expect that. Just expect that, especially as you start publishing. Like, if nobody has been doing that to you, you've probably been telling enough people. And there's something weird that happens when you get really clear about what you want. You start moving forward. That people start reaching out all over the place, number one, to say yay or nay. But then number two, when you get that clear and you start going out saying like, hey, this is what I want or don't want, it's funny how stuff kind of just starts to fall in place if you're actually serious about it and you're actually moving on it and you're not waiting for other people's blessing to move forward. You know what I mean? Stuff just will move forward with you if you are. So anyway, that's the deepness of this one. But I was thinking about just how I got raised and things like that. And there's a great question that I got from a listener that I'm actually going to toss in right now. And I thought it was the perfect question for what it was that's actually been on my mind. Because there are a few things that I did as an early kid that I can look back now and be like, oh my gosh, there's a few things that look, this helped me be prepared. This helped me, get in the correct mindset where I could go do this. Like, I understand, guys, I'm only 29 years old, and I understand, like, there's other people who've been far more successful than me by this age, and a lot of people who've been far less successful than me, by this age. And I think one of the keys is just to quit watching other people. Who freaking cares? I don't care. It's my life. It's where I am in my spot, and I'm in competition with myself. And over and over and over again, in 2 Comma Club coaching or any coaching in general that I do, side clients, like all over the place. One of the biggest things I see over and over and over again where people get fumbled up is they keep. It's good to look at other people, right? We teach people, look, go funnel hack this guy, go funnel hack this person, this business, this over here. copy them, model them, go through, figure out what is actually did. How do they prove that that offer worked? How do they prove that their attractive character works to that kind of audience, right? And like, but also please understand that your actual progress in this, right, should not be compared to another individual. Your actual value as an individual cannot be compared. Oh, well, they did this by the time they were this age. They did this by the time they're this age. And if you're doing that as far as like competition, okay, that's great. But understand that I've seen a lot of people get crippled by it, because what they do is they get out there and they start saying things like, oh, I must be doing it wrong. I'm never going to make it because I was never Russell's right-hand funnel builder. You know what I mean? And that's kind of what they do. And they come out and they say, and I've heard that a lot lately. It's like, oh my gosh, like that. I wasn't planning to be. I wasn't even trying to be in that role for a while. You know, I was just already in motion. They saw that and they picked me up. You know what I mean? So go get in motion. Go do stuff. Be in motion. Don't wait for approval from anybody else. You'll never get anything done. You'll get things done at a very slow rate because you got to get second opinions on all this stuff. It doesn't work that way. Okay, you got to be willing to, frankly, you know, give people the finger a little bit, which is something I don't do, but and just move on. Like, whatever, this is what I'm doing. Get out of my way. This is what I'm going to go do. And then you go do it. And I don't know, maybe I'm on a soapbox right now, but I'm certainly feeling excited and a little bit euphoric about this whole thing. And obviously there will be rough spots and everyone tries to remind me that, duh, I get it. But there's also going to be a lot of freaking kick butt stuff. And I've got 6 mega selling opportunities this next month alone that I've pre-set up to help the jump as I leave. Like, my goals are huge, and I know that, and it's gonna be great. And so do the same thing though in your life, and whatever it is that you're doing, the funnel that you're trying to put together right now. I was looking at a post the other day, and the post was saying, how many funnels are you gonna build this next year in 2018? And I was like, that is a rough question. Ouch. Like, who cares how many? Like, focus on just one. Just do one. If you do one really good, it'll change your whole life. Like, it doesn't matter how many. I have no idea how many funnels I've actually built. I always tell people that it's like 300, but it's way beyond that. There was a single project that was 86 funnels 2 times. Okay, 86 funnels in 2 different times on a single project. Another one, and I did it in like 3 or 4 days. Another one where it was supposed to be 330. I only ended up getting like 90 of them done, but that was in 2 days. There's another one like when we built Anthony DiClemente's, that was 12 funnels. You know what I mean? Like, and that was over the span of like not that much time. So it's in reality way past 300. I have no idea. But you know what's funny is I can look back at like the 12. You know, that are killing it. Don't worry about the number of funnels. I know there's a strategy out there where you try and build a funnel a week. Like, that's okay. But you end up getting micro-focused or hyper-focused, I should say. Hyper-focused on just the funnel that you're trying to get done and not actually making sure the thing converts and you're making money from it. Like, there is so much mental capacity that is required just to get one kick-butt funnel out the door. Who cares about number 2 till you get number 1 done? You know what I mean? It doesn't matter. Stop caring how many funnel it is. Stop caring about, I'm going to go this done, this done, and this done, this done. Well, then you're not going to get any of them done well. Okay? Do less, better. Do less, better. It's one of my favorite Brunsonisms. I don't think he actually said that, but it's a lesson that I got from him, and I wrote it down. Do less, better. It's all about saying no to more things than yes to a bunch of stuff. Say no to like everything. Okay, I do. It's the reason I don't funnel build for other people anymore. The kinds of people I want to funnel build for are like massive companies, huge companies. I would love to build funnels for huge companies because I know with complete confidence that in a few tweaks, I can totally change the revenue, the revenue coming into them. I could either take away their cost to acquire customers, or we could go expand how much each one of them is given. Like, that's the kind of, I want to go build for massive companies. So I say no to like everybody else. I got tons more asks this last week, and I get it, and it's awesome. It's exciting. And quite honestly, I'll probably do, some kind of event in the future where people can come in and I'll help them get their funnels out the door that they've been sitting on for a while. Like, I would love to do that kind of stuff. I want to be involved with that kind of stuff, but the amount of mental mojo that it takes to get one of them, one awesome one out the door is huge. So don't worry about number 2, number 3, number 15. Don't worry about number 12 till you have number 11 done. Okay. Number 2, like, don't give a crap about number 2 until number 1 is kicking butt. You know what I mean? Anyway, so as you think through like the goals, whatever you're trying to do in 2018, whether or not you set goals and New Year's resolutions, all that stuff, I'm off my high and mighty horse now. Let's get to the question from our listener, which I'm super excited about.
Hey Steve, this is Steph Brown. On your podcast, you have given a few stories about how some events in your life growing up helped you on your journey to become an entrepreneur. I'm a mom of 3 young kids so far, and my question for you is, how can my husband and I help to build a solid foundation for our kids so they would be ready to start their own businesses? What are some things your parents did well? What do you wish they would have done? What do you plan on doing with your own kids to help jumpstart their journey if they decide to become entrepreneurs? Thank you.
Hey, Steph Brown, fantastic question. Absolutely love the question. Yeah, because I have a 4-year-old and a 2-year-old right now. My wife's pregnant, expecting in June. So I've had those same questions, the same kinds of things, and it's made me be introspective lately as I kind of look back and I think through like, oh my gosh, what are the 3 things that my wife and I should be doing? What are the things my parents did? What are the things that I liked? What are the things I didn't like? Which each generation does, building on the next. You should look back and figure out what you liked that your parents did or didn't do, or and go build from it. Say, I'm going to do this, but not that. So I totally get it. I'm not telling you how to parent, but I totally get it though. And in my mind, that's how progress happens anyway. So one of the things my parents did is my dad grew up on a farm, and he knew how to work, and he wanted me to know how to work, and so he taught me how. And I remember literally every single Saturday as a kid, we would go do yard work, and it pissed me off. I was so mad about it. Just week after week after week, people would be like, "Yay, it's the weekend." I'd be like, "Crap, I'm going to be picking weeds in the garden for 6 hours tomorrow," which is not a joke. Like, we would do that, and we'd sit down and be like, oh my gosh. And it was, by the time I was 8 years old, I was mowing our lawn, and I was mowing neighbors' lawns and had my own little business. So I was 8 years old, and I was going around, and I think I was 8 when I started doing it for other people. I was really young though. And I learned how to ask people for money. I learned how to talk to people, because it's not like they walked over with me to the neighbors and asked with me. It was like, hey, let me know what they say. And I would like walk over there by myself, scared out of my mind. And I would go talk for myself, negotiate for myself as a very young kid. And that was invaluable. I had no idea how much that would add to my life, later on down the line. As we continue to grow up though, we would do things like, paper routes. My parents were not we were far from poor. We were not wealthy though either. We had more than enough. We were middle class, very taken care of. It was awesome. My dad was an executive at IBM. He ran his own couple businesses for a while. I mean, he's a rock star. He taught me how to learn. He taught me how to work. And he would. What I noticed that they would do is they would set up these little scenarios for me to learn, these scenarios for me to own the projects. I think they understood, because I'm the oldest of 6 kids, and they understood that my personality requires that I have ownership in stuff. And it's been that way my whole life. And so when someone else would stand up and tell me what to do, it took me a long time to be willing to understand that they're not trying to boss me around. Sometimes they are my boss, or sometimes, you know what I mean? So from a young age, they understood quickly that I needed to have ownership in things. And so I'm excited to do that for my kids, because I've been thinking through what kind of cool projects I could give them, where it's hey, children, I want this outcome, and I give no instruction on how to get it done. Right? I love the book 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, when he's talking about his kids, taking care of their lawn, and their grass was brown, because the kids were still learning how to do stuff. There's trash all over. It was disgusting. And people are like, okay, why don't you just do it on your own and make it look nice? And his response was, because I'm raising kids, not growing grass. Right? It's the same. This is not meant to be like a parenting show or anything like that. But I'm looking back though, identifying the things though that it was. And there was a summer where my dad worked from home. Actually, he had a home office. I grew up in Littleton, Colorado, which is a suburb of Denver. Skied like crazy growing up, and very outdoorsy. I backpacked my face off all over the mountains, and anyway, really enjoyed it. Lots of fun. And there was a summer though that my dad was like, "Hey, children," and I was the oldest, so mostly he's talking at me. He said, "Stephen, come on in." And I went and I sat down at his office, and a lot of times it was almost like an interview when I was sitting with him. And I sat down with him, and he's like, "I want to make you the yard manager." I was like, "Okay, what does that mean?" And I had been mowing lawns and doing the trimming and weeding and all that stuff for some time, but he's like, I want to make you the yard manager. And what he did, and this was one of the best lessons I ever had in my entire childhood ever. Okay. And I can't wait to do it with my kids. And it's one of the reasons we bought the house that we did, so that there's a yard, so that there's projects that need to be done. Like I am not trying to hire a maid. I am not trying to hire a yard guy. I have 2 little yard people right now that are in training. Okay, my 2 little kids, a third one on the way. That's how I'm looking at it, because I expect them to work. I don't care how much money I make. They will have no idea that. Anyway, I'm very firm on that. And I know people are like, let's give you a better life than I had. It's like, yeah, okay, but I'm trying to teach you how to fish. I'm not trying to give you fish. So what my dad did though is he sat down and he goes, I want to make you the yard manager. And what he did was he's like, here you go, Steven, I'm going to give you a budget every single week. I'll give you a certain amount of money and you will go hire out your siblings and for specific tasks. And at the end of the week, send me an invoice and I'll pay you. And then you take whatever was, over on the top. Now, that might sound funny to you, but it was one of the coolest things I ever did. And he gave me no other instruction, right? He gave me nothing else. And I was like, well, how much money? He's like, well, you come up with the amount. Let me know how much it is. And I was like, crap. Like, that was one of the things that he was very, very good at is whenever I had a question, this is one of the best things he ever did with me. He always asked me what I thought before he ever told me what he thought. And so I would have to go come up with the answer on my own, do a Google search, or ask friends, talk to people, try and figure out what's the answer that I think it is. And then I would take it to him and check it with him. And he did that for tons of stuff, totally pissed me off for a lot of my childhood, but was one of the best ways that I learned how to solve problems on my own, or at least take a stab at them. And then I'd go check them with now the market, or now a guru or a mentor or a friend or something like that. You know what I mean? And so what they did, though, is my dad said, okay, go figure out the amount. So what I did is I literally wrote a contract. I sat down with my siblings and I interviewed them and I hired them to like, okay, I'm hiring you, younger brother of mine, to mow the lawn, and they would be applying for the position because it paid, $11 a week, something like that. And trimming was $6 a week, and weeding around the garden, weeding around the sides of the house, depends where you were, because the weeds were different depending on what part of the yard you were in and how crappy of an experience it was. And fertilizing was twice a season, and aerating was this amount, and I foresee these expenses, and I foresee this, and I had to come up with a plan. I think I was like 14 when I did that, 15, something like that. I can't remember how old, but I was in my middle teens, and I had already been running kind of a side business, doing this stuff for other neighbors. I had a paper route. I was extremely active. I was actively trying to make money as often as I could as a kid. I was that kid that was like, what can we sell to the other kids on the street in the neighborhood so that we can make money? So we'd go buy cases of soda and we'd sneak onto a golf course and we'd go sell it for a little bit more. We would take backpacks, we put backpacks on, put our swimsuits on, we would go dive in, which is totally disgusting. We'd go dive into the ponds at the golf course and get all the golf balls off the bottom. We'd clean them up and go sell them back to the golf. Sell them back to the golfers. That's the kind of kid I was. I was always trying to sell stuff. And I never realized that business was the thing that I was doing. I always thought entrepreneurship was like this nasty thing where you try and make as much money as you want to, blah, 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 you know what I mean? And I was totally wrong. It's totally false belief. I don't really know where I picked that up. But I had to break that eventually. But anyway, so that's what I did though. And so my siblings would go out and I ran it like a business. That's what my dad was trying to get me to do. He's like, look, it's your thing. How do you want to run it? He's like, it's not on me anymore. He transferred all the ownership to me and he said, do it how you want to, but here's the outcome I want. I want the grass looking good. That was it. So I had to learn how to do sprinkler monitoring, the systems. I had to learn how to do all this stuff and hire people out and get people. And at the end of the week, my siblings would be like, hey, pay up. And I'd be like, crap, I don't have the money. So I'd go ask my dad and be like, Dad, can I get the money? And he'd be like, yep, just write up an invoice. And I didn't know what an invoice freaking was. And he didn't tell me. He's like, go look it up. And so I went and I looked it up. And I made up what I thought was an invoice and I sent it over to him. And he was like, okay, sounds good. Before we even started with this, I'd send over an estimation of what I thought the weekly cost would be and be like, okay, I think you can pull it off for that amount. And if an employee of mine, a sibling of mine, if an employee of mine didn't do their task that week, I had to pick up the slack. and I had to go do the job, and I wouldn't pay them. I'd keep the portion for my own. So I'd keep a management fee for myself to keep it all going. I'd keep, and then my siblings would do all this other work on the side, and interesting experience. I mean, absolutely amazing. And I totally took to it, and I had full ownership over it. I took full ownership of it, and I loved it. And it was a great experience. And it taught me management. It taught me delegation. It taught me that no job was below me. You know what I mean? And I learned how to work my face off through that thing alone. And later on, I was like hand digging trenches for sprinkler lines and putting it like, I later on was, insulating on my own and drywalling, patching and painting our whole garage on my own. You know what I mean? Like it taught me how to learn and work and solve the problem directly in front of me so that I didn't lean on another person to get it done. Or that sounds hard. It's like, no, what would you do first? What would be the first step? Well, I'd probably do this. Then I'd do this, I'd do that. And then I'd go check it, the whole system I was thinking of with another person, but I didn't wait to start. It wasn't contingent on somebody else. And it's totally this problem-solving mentality that my parents instilled in me, and that's kind of what I'm doing on now also. And it might be weird to do it for 4 and 2-year-old, but sometimes my little kid, like yesterday, I can't remember what she asked me, but she asked me something. I said, I don't know, what do you think? Obviously, I had an opinion. That's not why I did it, and that super helped me like crazy. So, yeah, that yard manager thing was killer. That was absolutely amazing. And obviously, if you don't have a yard or whatever, or you have yard people, you could fire them. Or I'm sure there's other ways you could instill that or do that. But that was amazing. And that experience taught me a ton. And I had side businesses my entire childhood growing up. For me to say, like, this is the first time I've ever launched business on my own, like, that's not true at all. I'm 29. I've been doing this for probably 21 years now. Like, have they all been very successful? No, most of them haven't, but I know what doesn't work, and I know more of what does, and I know how to launch stuff, and I know how to put plans together, and I know how to manage and orchestrate people and put them all together and things like that. And that's really what that taught me how to do, was how to orchestrate, how to delegate, how to not be the only person. And my dad just, hey, here's the outcome I want, and here's maybe a few pointers, but after I'd go try and find out the answer on my own. You know what I mean? That was ridiculously valuable. The other thing they did with me is that they always fed me, clothed me, paid for school field trips, all that kind of stuff. But any entertainment on my own, I paid for my own car insurance as soon as I started driving, my own gas, any movies I wanted to go to, we'd get closed like at the beginning of each semester, before school would start again. But after that, though, if I wanted anything extra, it was really on my own. I'd go figure out how to do it, and that was awesome. That was awesome to do it that way, because it was no longer, I got out of the mentality at a very early age, oh, I can't afford that. And I started getting into the mentality at a very early age, man, I really want that cool cork gun. I remember thinking that, and I totally saved up, and I got one, and I figured out how to get creative, and I sold like all sorts of crap to make money in order to go get toys. And I did that a lot, tons growing up, all over, tons of times. Anyway, taught me how to problem solve like crazy, and keep me in good stress. It always, anyway, I am a huge advocate of good stress. Obviously there's de-stress, and if I can tell that my little ones, are entering a state of de-stress, it's time to cut it out and time to intervene for me. I'm not telling anyone how to parent. Please tell me I'm not a parent, please know I'm not a parenting expert, but like that's when I would intervene though. That's when I do intervene, when I can tell they're entering a state of de-stress, where the stress it's no longer a growing and enabling style stress, like going to the gym. It's a bad kind of stress. It's the stress that's destructive. It's going to kill confidence. I don't want to kill confidence. That's not, I want them to have confidence, to be problem solvers on their own, that they will be self-sufficient adults and they know how to do things on their own. Like I think my particularly my mom wishes that I wasn't such an individual, so that we would chat more and maybe ask more questions to her and stuff like that. But they raised me to be a very self-sustaining individual, and to solve my own problems. It's not that they won't help. It's not that I can't chat. It's not that but it is primarily squarely all of life, everything that I am, everything that I'm doing, everything that I'm being is on my shoulders. And that was instilled in me at a very young age. And I appreciate that. And there were times where it sucked. And there were times where it's not like, oh man, but I carried that. While I wasn't very book smart in school at first, I did learn how to learn and ended up getting almost straight A's throughout the remainder of college afterward, like because of the confidence they helped instill inside of me. Does that make sense? Like, anyway, that, and it's interesting, like as I'll hire people out or VAs or whatever, it's not that I can like sit back and be like, oh, that's the kind of childhood you had, but I can sit back though and go like, wow, you have very little confidence in your abilities. You know, and sometimes I'm a little bit withdrawn on what I am able to do also, and you know, for fear of looking like I'm being gaudy, and I hate that in the internet marketing world. It drives me crazy. I'm not about to go take pictures of me laying across cars and crap. It's just not my personality. I would rather anyway, but it's funny because I can tell though, like there was a time when I was trying to hire. You guys will meet her here soon because I want to interview her. She's a rock star of an ads driver, Facebook ads driver. I don't want to learn how to do Facebook ads. It's not a peak I'm going for. And so what I've been doing is finding these rock star people. And I went and I've talked about this before, but just to recap, but I went and I created this cool contest, and whoever was able to drive the most converting traffic to one of my pages, that's who I hired to be my Facebook ads person forever. And just because it was a competition, one person backed out. I was like, cool. So then there's only 2 left. And this is after I vetted out a huge list of lots of people. And then I went and I talked to the remaining 2, and I was like, hey, person A and person B, this is the competition. Okay, I'm going to give you guys each $500. Whoever can drive the most converting traffic, you now have a job. You know, that's put a little pressure, and there's nothing wrong with that. And it was awesome. Viva la capitalism. Okay, that's what I'm all about. And because they were both pumped that it was a competition, but the second I could tell was not going to be self-sustaining. The kinds of questions that were coming from person B were questions that I didn't know the answer to. I don't know Facebook ads. Like, wait a second, you tell me what's best. I'm hiring you. You know, you is the same thing that my dad would do with me. That's exactly what I started. It was interesting. I was like, I can tell this person's going to be more of a liability on my time. It's like, I don't know. Like, you go do it. That's your job. That's why I'm hiring you. You go. It's not on my shoulders. It's on yours. The thing I'm paying you to figure that out. Well, what about this? I was like, I have no idea what even half of you just said, because I'm not trying to learn Facebook ads. I'm trying to be the best at funnel building, what you do with a customer afterwards, offer creation. That's what I'm trying to be the best in the world at, you know? And so I got rid of person B because person A was just executing. And person B was asking a billion follow-up questions before they even got started. And I was like, oh. But anyway, that's part of it. So anyway, this has been a long episode. I hope that's okay. And they've all kind of been a little bit long lately. But it's funny, though, how much, like, it ticked me off like crazy that a lot of times it wouldn't be like, well, here's the answer. And sometimes it would be. But a lot of times it was, what do you think, Steven? I'd be like, just tell me the answer. I don't want to go think. Don't do that. Don't make me think. But it taught me how to problem solve at a very young age, how to take responsibility, anyway. So you asked the question, what I wish they would have done, and which is a great question. And so while all those other things were awesome, I have incredible, immense respect for my parents. I have absolutely zero bad feelings about the way I was raised. I'm completely thankful for both the good and the bad, the hard and the good, all the everything that happened, both amazing and rough, for the way I was raised. And I feel like that's powerful for each adult to eventually come to terms with, how, you know, if you're okay with that. Man, this is like deep crap. This is not like a normal funnel episode. But what I am excited to make this change, though. I had and this is probably going to shock a lot of people. I was extremely shy as a kid. And I'm not just saying that. Out of the 600 people in my senior graduating high school class, 600 people, I was rated and voted as the nicest kid. You know, when they're like giving like the most likely to do this, the most likely to do that. I was voted the nicest kid award out of 600 people. Nicest kid. It shocked the crap out of me. because in my head, I was not that way. I was a little rage machine. I just didn't know how to deal with it. But I had a huge fear of other people. I had a massive fear of adults. I was very shy. And so I'm excited to help instill greater confidence in my children. You'll notice that I love this. I love Satema Gali. I think I say his last name. He says something all the time. He's like, confidence is for kids. As an adult, especially as an attractive character, you have to maintain and exude absolute certainty. Absolute certainty. That's the evolved version of confidence. Okay, and I wish. And again, no regrets, nothing else. But I am looking forward to helping my kids and have more confidence and help them be able to make. I'm trying to figure out how to say that. But yeah, I think that'd be it. I just want my kids to be shy, and if they are, that's fine. I'm not trying to change them or whatever, But that would have been very nice, because I had a fear of speaking, which is funny because that's what I do all the time now. Stage, podcast, all over the place. But I had a huge fear of speaking, and so eventually I had to face that fear on my own, and I started doing things like door-to-door sales, musicals, stage presentations, things like that in high school at a very young age, so that I could get around that, because I started learning that about myself. But anyway, that's it. Long episode answering that question. And thank you very much, Steph Brown, for that. Shout out to you, and thanks for. If anyone else wants to get a question on here, I do love hearing what it is that you guys have questions on, and they often bring up kind of cool topics, kind of like this one. So anyway, if you want to go to salesfunnelradio.com, and there's a green button down on the bottom right, and if you click that button, you can record a voicemail to me straight off your browser. It won't take you anywhere else or anything, and it automatically emails it over to me, the voice file and everything, so I can toss it right in the episode. Obviously, I kind of vet through them. Start with the phrase, "Hey, Steve," and then ask your question in 30 seconds or less, and that's how we do it. All right, guys. Hope you guys are doing great. That was some serious, massive introspection. It's kind of a long one. I apologize. But great question, though. There was a lot in my childhood that had to do what I'm doing now. And thanks for bringing that up and making me realize all that. That was helpful. Thanks, Steph. And guys, thanks everyone else for listening. And go crush your 2018. I have a special episode coming out next, which I'm very, very pumped about. Next few are going to be really awesome. All right, guys. Talk to you later. Bye.
Thanks for listening to Sales Funnel Radio. Please remember to subscribe and leave feedback. Want to get one of today's best internet sales funnel for free? Go to salesfunnelbroker.com/free funnels to download your pre-built sales funnel today.